Johnathan Lee Iverson is the 2018 Broadway World Best Lead Actor in a Play, Orlando. He's been in high demand as a singer, actor, master of ceremonies, keynoter, writer, voiceover artist, and ringmaster. He is an accomplished and history-making showman who's been privileged to grace the most coveted stages and arenas the world over. As a member of the Boys Choir of Harlem, he shared the spotlight with the likes of Peebo Bryson, Lena Horne, Ray Charles, Betty Buckley, Stevie Wonder, Luciano Pavarotti, Roberta Flack, Placido Domingo, Tony Bennett, and scores of other luminaries in the world of entertainment. He's kept company with citizens such as the late South African President Nelson Mandela,
Forrest Gump,
Secretary of State General Colin Powell, and 4 U.S. presidents, including Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, and William Jefferson Clinton. The youngest and first African-American ringmaster of the iconic Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, which he served until its closing in 2017, making him the last ringmaster in the 146-year history of the greatest show on earth. He is renowned for his powerful voice and superstar presence, as well as one of Barbara Walters' 10 most fascinating people. But he is most proud of being a question on Jeopardy twice. For more information, visit lastringmaster.com. Please welcome Mr. Johnathan Lee Iverson.
Sorry, my eyes went up like that.
Don't worry about it.
I sincerely apologize.
Well, what do you know? How about that? You all came all the way here just to get a Jeopardy question. I'm so honored that you all would ask little old me, and I do mean little old me. These podiums are always so small. Everything's always so small for people of my height. Listen, I'm just thrilled that I was asked to come and speak to this excellent class of 2019. I remember middle school very well, as we all do. Yes, and it was quite trying and quite exciting, because this is a fascinating time in human development, because you're not exactly a kid and you're definitely not an adult, although you may think you are. I remember what it was like to be in your position, and when I was around your age, I think by our standards of what excellent is, you would probably say I was pretty excellent. At least the company I kept was pretty excellent. Excellence for me, I was in a world-renowned boy choir, the Boys Choir of Harlem. We traveled all over the globe. Excellence for me was sharing the stage with so many luminaries and stars of the age. Excellence was being a student at Fiorello H. LaGuardia High School of Music and Art and Performing Arts in New York City. Now, this school was so popular, it spurred a motion picture called Fame, and it also spurred a TV series of the same name. Its alumni list reads like a Hall of Fame roster. Excellence for me was graduating high school, of course, and going on scholarship to the Hart School of Music to study opera under the behest of a wonderful opera singer and teacher by the name of Jerome Pruitt. My student mentor even his name was Philip Boykin, who would go on to become a Tony-nominated Broadway actor. So excellence for me was graduating from that college and moving on only months later to making showbiz history as the youngest ringmaster, first New Yorker, and first African-American ringmaster of Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey. That was excellence for me. But what I've come to find as I've grown up is such excellence is an impossibility without community. None of you are here, none of us are here without community. You may be the captain of your soul, and you are, but you better remember your crew. And your crew usually starts with your family, and like you, it started with my family. namely my mother. With all the whining I did during your age, with all the heartaches I gave her during your age, she would not relent. I wanted to quit the Boys Choir of Harlem every 2 days. When I first joined the choir, no one informed me that I actually had to work. I thought it was a group of just some really nice young men who just sang and traveled. That's why I wanted to join. I just wanted to travel. And I didn't realize I had to earn it. And so the first 18 months of my career there felt like 1,800 years. All I did was practice, on and practice. I was never chosen for anything, no concerts, no tours, nothing. For 18 months. And every other day, I gave my mother a new soliloquy as to how she should let me quit. And thank goodness she never relented. She never relented to my mediocrity. She was tough. She put her foot out, kicked me in the backside, and made me do what I had to do. And that's how, kids, you get to stages like this, with an unrelenting community that sees things in you that you can't see yourself. That goes back to this strange little stage you're in of you're not really a kid, but you're not really an adult. So your vision is limited. And you need a community like this one, like your parents, like your teachers, like mentors. I had some extraordinary mentors and teachers who, when I was your age, they were horrible people. So I thought. But they had my best interest in mind at all times. The founder and director of the Boys Choir of Harlem was the late, great Dr. Walter J. Turnbull. He was a hard man. He was a big man. He was brilliant, though. An excellent musician. Excellent. There was nothing that could escape his ears. He was amazing. He was tough. But his greatest goal was not to make great musicians. Now, my colleagues and I, some of us would go on to have significant careers in the music business or in entertainment, wherever, but his mission, and he would tell anybody with an earshot, the mission wasn't to make great musicians. He wanted to make good citizens. And as I got older and understood what he was talking about, it dawned on me that excellence without integrity is nothing at all. You live in a real strange time where status is currency, where people really believe that your position is all you need, where by way of your position, your job, your ability, whatever it is, it's all you need. And integrity, it's more about status rather than stature. We'd rather be about what we're making, how we look, what we do, or how good we are in that, rather than who we are. And so the great lesson in excellence is learning it's not so much about what you are, but who you are. Who you are will always corroborate what you are. It gives integrity to what you are. Just the other day, a beautiful story that went around the internet, one of the few beautiful stories that went viral. I don't know if you saw this. There was a wonderful man named Floyd Martin, who was a mailman for 35 years. And he had this mail route in Marietta, Georgia, that he covered for 20. He had his last day of work, he retired. Now remember, he's a mailman. So he goes down the same route and the entire town comes out to celebrate this man. It went viral and it was such a great story. Delta Airlines called in and said, we want to send that man to Hawaii. This is a mailman. Now that may sound strange to some people because remember, we're in a status-laden culture. You get online, everybody's living their best life. So we don't really see wonderful jobs like those as very important. But it leaves you to think, what was it about Floyd Martin that would cause his entire town to celebrate him? They even said children on career day would dress up like him. Who have you ever heard of dressing up like the mailman on career day? But that says something about him and the integrity of his work, and that he wasn't defined by what he did, but who he was, which illuminated what he was. Understand, I'm reminded of a really fascinating story of a high schooler who was, by everyone's estimation, the dream student. His name was Gary Hurt. Gary was an A+ scholar, an Eagle Scout. Gary was a star athlete in his high school. In his town of 1,800 people, he was the golden child. His face and his name was rarely absent from the local paper. He was the man. He had everything going for him. So you can imagine that town of 1,800 people's shock when Gary was arrested for murder. Now imagine their disgust with his reason. It wasn't that he and the person he killed were in a fight and it just went wrong and he took his life. It wasn't that maybe the person knew something about him and so he had to do something about it. His answer to the police was as cold and chilling as a Wisconsin winter. He said, and I quote, "I just wanted to know if I could get away with it. I just wanted to know if I could get away with it." Could you imagine a person like that as your neighbor, as your mailman, as your principal, as your president? Stature should always precede status. And this is something I hope you remember as you continue in your academic career and as you begin to form yourself, because that's what's happening now. You're really grappling with your identity. You're grappling with who you're going to be. I remember this age so clearly. This is when I knew what I wanted to do. I saw Placido Domingo. We were on a trip in Japan, and we were in a concert, and we were on the same bill as him. And I never heard of him before. I was just coming into what singing was. And someone said, "I want you to hear what a real tenor sounds like." And Placido Domingo comes on stage, and I nearly lost my mind. It was the most beautiful thing I ever saw, and I knew what I wanted to be. And some of you may have similar experiences now. Some of you, if you're blessed enough, you actually know where you're going, what you're about, what you want to be. But the lesson I want you to take, wherever you are in your life, what I want you to remember, as brilliant as you are, as talented as you are, as beautiful as you are, as powerful as you are, and you are, remember your character. In the mighty words of heavyweight legend Joe Louis, who used to say to his opponents, "You can run, but you can't hide." You can run with your talent. You can run with your beauty. You can run with an incredible GPA. You can run with intelligence. You can run with extraordinary skill. But you can't hide from yourself. Remember, above all things, excellence is nothing without a touch of integrity. I hope that's meant something to you. Thank you for welcoming me. I am your ringmaster, Johnathan Lee Iverson.
got a little gift for you here,
Oh, look at this.
so you can add it to your collection.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
And the next time he introduces me, this is the first thing we talk about.